Hey guys, so this is part 2 of section 3.1. We had a little bit of an issue here with the laptop, so we just went ahead and split it up into two different parts. Okay, so this should be the shorter part, so if you didn't get to see part 1, go ahead and watch it now and then come back to this, which is part 2. Alright, so let's go ahead and continue from where we were at. So what we were discussing is problem number 12. Okay, we were trying to write the equation as described, and we saw right away that they're asking for a slope-intercept equation, which means we have to use a y equals mx plus b equation. All right, so we were also given that we have a y-intercept of 14 and a slope of -1/2. Now, I highly recommend that you guys actually write out underneath that what you were given. Okay, a y-intercept. Now, for the other problems that we've had, they've given us our slope first. Well, in this case, they didn't. They gave us our b first. They gave us our y-intercept. So be really careful and identify that as your b. And then this one, that one -1/2, as your slope. That one is your m. Okay? So now in my y equals mx plus b form, I just write y equals -1/2 x plus 14. Okay? All right, so just wanted to make sure we were clear on that, because that's why you always have to be very careful as to how you read these problems. Identify what you're given. Okay, that's the key thing here. All right, let's continue on. Let's do number 13, and then you guys are going to do 14 and 15 on your own. So once again, write a slope-intercept equation. So once again, y equals mx plus b. And yet again, they're giving us our y-intercept first, and then our slope. So they gave us our b first, then our m. So we have y equals, our m is 2/3, x plus b, which in this case is a -4/3. Okay, good. So what I want you guys to do is pause the video for a second and go ahead and try out number 14 and 15, and then we will verify your answers. All right, so let's go ahead and identify all the things we're given. So write a slope-intercept equation of the line that has a slope of 1 and a y-intercept of -5. So our slope is our m, our y-intercept is our b. So we have y equals 1x, or you could just write x, plus our b, and in this case it's a -5, so I'm going to write -5. Okay. Now you could write plus a -5, but honestly it's just redundant at that point. So I would go ahead and write x minus 5. Okay. So next one, slope-intercept equation. So again, y equals mx plus b. They give me my y-intercept first, then my slope. Okay. I'm not gonna let the the order at which it came in confuse me. So this is my b, this is my m. So my equation is y equals -1x, which is just -x, plus 3/2. All right, good. So that was it, guys. I mean, honestly, the rest of it from here on out is just a little bit of a mixed review. But for now, I think that's all we needed to know and be able to do for this section. Okay, so what did we do? Just to recap real quick. We took information such as a slope and a y-intercept, and from that we wrote something in slope-intercept form. Okay, so we finally actually took that information and actually wrote an equation, or an equation to represent that particular linear function. Also, what we did is we actually took a graph, identified these two key pieces of information, which were our y-intercept and our slope, and then from there did the same thing. We were able to identify an equation that represents that particular graph. Okay, so that is it for that new stuff. However, because we want to make sure we are ready for anything else that comes up, we need to make sure we review some of the previous concepts. So let's go ahead and talk about how to calculate the slope of a line containing the given points. If you guys remember our slope equation, and let me write it over here on the side, m equals, okay, remember it's our rise over our run. Another way we've talked about it is our change in y over our change in x. So if you guys remember this equation, you guys are off to a good start. y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So again, we're calculating the slope. We're calculating that m using the equation y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1 because we are exactly given that. We're given two different points. So as we've said before in the past, if possible, go ahead and identify your x1, y1 and your x2, y2. In a previous video, we've identified that it doesn't matter which one you use as your x1, y1 and your x2, y2. All that does matter is that you use them in the right order on the actual equation, on your actual formula to identify your slope. Okay, so let's go ahead and take our information. So y2 in this case is -1 minus my y1, which is just 11. And then x2, which is -3, minus my x1, which is a -5. So -1 minus 11 is a -12 over -3 minus a -5 is just like saying +5. Okay, so that is a 2. And we get a slope of -6. So -6 is our slope. Okay, so just to make sure that you guys are understanding, go ahead and pause the video and try out number 17 on your own. Okay, all right, let's go ahead and look at this problem. So again, it doesn't matter which one you identify as x1, y1 and x2, y2, but I usually just like, to identify the first one as my x1, y1. Okay, so once again, I'm going to use my formula. Remember, I have it up here on the right-hand side if you want to use it. So we have 6 minus a -6 over -1 minus a +14. So what do we get? Well, again, this turns into a positive because the opposite of a negative is a positive. So 6 plus 6 is 12. -1 minus 14 is a -15. Okay, and actually, we start to think about this one. 12 over -15, those two have something in common. They actually have a 3 in common. They're both divisible by 3. And hence, I can reduce this to 12 divided by 3 is 4. -15 divided by 3 is -5. Okay, and now remember, just like I've said before, guys, that negative honestly doesn't matter if you write it at the top, bottom, or right in the center. Okay, so if you gave me this answer, that would be totally fine. I would also accept this. And actually, I would also accept that. Okay, so notice that it doesn't matter where you put your negative sign. Sometimes it is convenient to put it either on the bottom or the top, depending on the situation. However, we notice right now that we only have one negative sign, meaning that the whole fraction is a negative. Okay, now if we had two negative signs, that would change things because a negative divided by a negative would equal a positive, and hence no more need for negatives. Okay, so just a quick little mini lesson there, or mini reminder for you guys. All right, and number 18 and 19 were very similar to what we did at towards the end of chapter 2. Okay, and without knowing, we were actually turning something in standard form into something in slope-intercept form. At least for the beginning of chapter 2, and then at the end of chapter 2, we actually made those connections and were able to identify it. So that's exactly what we're doing here, just worded differently. We're trying to solve for y for the following equations. Okay, so let's solve for y. So I don't want that 2x, I'm going to get rid of it because I just want the y. I want this y right here, and let me go ahead and highlight it. I want this y all by itself on that left side. So in order to do that, I have to get rid of that 2x, and I have to get rid of that -4, but we're using SAD method, okay? Remember, addition and subtraction first, then division and multiplication. So those two go away. We get -4y equals -2x plus 8. Remember, it was a +8, so plus 8. And then we want to divide everything by that -4. So what do we get? We get y equals negative 2 divided by negative 4. So negative divided by negative is positive, and 2 divided by 4 is just 1 half. Finally, 8 divided by negative 4 is a negative 2. So again, at the beginning of chapter 2, we just looked at solving for y, which actually we made the connection later on in chapter 2, which meant we were going from standard to slope-intercept form. Okay, so why don't you go ahead and pause the video for a second. This will be the last one for today. So go ahead and pause the video and try number 19 out. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at it. So again, we're solving for y. So let's get rid of that negative 6x by doing the inverse operation, which would be adding 6x. So we get 3y equals 6x plus 27. Divide by 3. Divide every single thing by 3. Okay, so we get y equals 6 divided by 3 is a 2. Don't forget your x. Okay, and then 27 divided by 3 is just a 9. So my final answer is y equals 2x plus 9. All right, guys, I think I'm going to go ahead and end the video there. So hopefully you guys are in better shape now than maybe you were at the beginning of this lesson. If you're not, remember, you can always go back, pause the video, restart the video, whatever you need to do as long as you guys understand these main concepts, okay? All right, guys, so I will talk to you a little later and go ahead and move on to 3.2 if you guys feel you are ready. All right, guys, have a good one.